Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And we're back again, and we got some heat for you guys. You don't want to miss this one, but before we get into it, make sure you go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now, y'all know Stephen A. Smith is one of the biggest voices in sports media. And in the past, he has been known to talk about a bunch of different people, and in the past, the people that he's talked about or spoken about have come back at him. This is well documented, and that is exactly what just happened between him and Kevin Durant here. Now, is this the first time that Stephen A. Smith has had a public spat with Kevin Durant? No, it's not. It is not the first time, because y'all remember when Kevin Durant decided to go join the Golden State Warriors, I believe it was back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, Stephen A. Smith single-handedly led the campaign for calling that decision by Kevin Durant the weakest move by any superstar NBA player in NBA history. He was the first one that I heard out there saying that. And it caused so much hoopla that Kevin Durant's mom allegedly or reportedly actually stepped to Stephen A. I don't know if it's face-to-face or on the phone, whatever it was, but she confronted him because I believe she thought he was being hypercritical of her son. And whenever Stephen A. Smith decides that he wants to talk about Kevin Durant, he always alludes to that. He says, Mama Durant, she's defending her son, and it's absolutely right, and blah, 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 because they've had that kind of back and forth. But this time around, Stephen A. Smith was back at it again, throwing out hot takes on people's backs, because that's one of his fortes. One of the things that he likes to do that I've noticed about him is he likes to get views and clicks and all of this stuff at the expense of the people he's talking about. If he can get people to tune in and to get those ratings, and if he can drag you through the mud, he will go ahead and do it. Look no further than some of the comments that he had to make about Lamar Odom. Look about what he had to say about Shohei Ohtani. Look about what he had to say about this Nigerian player. If he feels that is going to get ratings, he is going to talk about you. He doesn't care. He's already made it clear. First thing he does when he wakes up in the morning, he doesn't even pray to God. The first thing he does is think about how much money to make for his bosses. The second thing is how much money to make for himself. So when somebody has that type of disposition, some of these things should not come as a surprise to you. He came at Kevin Durant trying to get a hot take, get a hot mic, but this time Kevin Durant came back at him and he pushed back. So for those of you guys who missed the comments that Stephen A. Smith made about Kevin Durant, take a listen to them here, and then we're going to come back and tell you guys what Kevin Durant said as his response, and we're going to unpack this entire thing. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say here.
What is at stake for the Brooklyn Nets right now?
Well, listen, as far as I'm concerned, number one, you're going to lose Harden. I don't think there's any question about that. You don't win the championship, you're going to lose Harden. That's number one. Number two, we don't know what's going to happen with the Kyrie situation because we don't know how frustrated people are going to be. Kyrie Irving is absolutely spectacular. He's box office, but in the same breath, hey, what are you going to do if he can't play consistently? Because we don't know where the mandate's going to go, anything like that. Kevin Durant's got some decisions to make. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I want to be very, very careful about what I'm saying. Because, Mama Durant might be watching, and I just want to make sure that I'm very, very clear with what I'm saying. KD, obviously, I said the other day on First Take how, you know something? If you lose, especially if Steph Curry wins and you lose, you're going to be known more for departing and electing to leave Steph Curry to join Kyrie Irving than you might be recognized for the 2 championships and the 2 NBA Finals MVP. We all love basketball, and we know how phenomenal KD is. I think he's the best in the world when healthy. That's just my personal opinion. That's how much respect I have for him. But I've been in the media for a little while. Mike Wilbon's been in the media for a little while. And there are going to be people. All I'm saying is there's going to be people, especially if Golden State wins and Brooklyn doesn't win. With all of this stuff that went on this year, that is going to look at his choice to join with Kyrie Irving and depart from Steph Curry as opposed to staying with Steph Curry. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's right. When KD tweeted and said it was egregious for me to say that on NBA Today with Malika and Sinead is when I said it. I'm saying I tweeted back. You're absolutely right. It is egregious. It's unfair. It ain't right. You deserve better. But since when has that had anything to do with headlines on the back pages? Both of you, you've written columns for years for the Washington Post. You've been a professional athlete and an elite college athlete as well. You know there's plenty of things that are unfair that end up being the narrative, particularly on the back pages. That's all I was saying.
So those were his comments, right? Those were the comments that he made about Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant didn't take too lightly to that. So what did he do? He actually went to Twitter to respond to him. And this is what he said. He said, Steve, you decided to use ESPN to push your personal agendas. I'm sure your minions will run with this story for you, but if you believe that is what my career is defined by, then you just a flat out hater. It's going to be hard to box in the God. First of all, Kevin Durant is absolutely right. I never, ever, ever heard anyone talk about Kevin Durant's career could possibly be defined, or his legacy could be that because he joined Kyrie Irving, he decided to join Kyrie Irving over Stephen Curry. I never, ever thought about that. You know why? Because Kevin Durant was already that dude before he went to Brooklyn. He was already one of the top 15 basketball players, greatest basketball players of all time. He was already that dude. He was already a multiple finals MVP, multiple NBA championship, multiple scoring, if we look at Kevin Durant's accomplishments, right? If we just take a quick glance at it, this guy's a two-time champion, two-time finals MVP, regular season MVP winner in 2014, 12-time All-Star, two-time All-Star game MVP. He's been on what? 9 All-NBA teams, 6 All-First teams. He was a Rookie of the Year in 2008. He has 4 scoring titles. He's part of the 50-40-90 club, which is one of the hardest things to do. People like Larry Bird, Kyrie Irving did it last year. Steve Nash did it, and I believe Stephen Curry did it, and there's some other players that that maybe escaped my mind. Kevin Durant he's one of the most efficient basketball players that you're ever going to see play basketball in your lifetime. So I don't know how we see all of his accomplishments, and at the end of it, we think about, oh, well, Kevin Durant, his legacy may end up being that he ended up leaving Stephen Curry to go play with. Who thought that? The only person that thought that is Stephen A. Smith and the trolls. Now, here's why I believe Stephen A. Smith did that. I think Stephen A. Smith, the only reason he said that because he was searching for sensationalism. That's the reason he said it, and he didn't mind searching for it on Kevin Durant's back on ESPN. He was searching for what would drive clicks, what would get ratings, what would get views. This would do it, let me say it. Because you guys need to know, and this has been reported, and this is how it works on TV, they get reports every 15 minutes on how different segments are doing. That's why they have so many segments, and they let you know, okay, this segment did well, we can continue. So they're getting constant feedback on how these things that they're saying on TV. So they're constantly trying to get higher and higher ratings, and you need to get shock value. But in this particular instance, he tried to do it on the back or at the expense of Kevin Durant, something my late grandmother used to call expensive jokes. An expensive joke is when you try to make a joke about somebody at their expense. You're making a joke and you end up making fun of the guy. You end up insulting the guy. And I think that is what he was doing. And I think that is why Kevin Durant pushed back. But this is not something new. Stephen A. Smith is notorious for doing this. And is one of the reasons he's disliked by so many people. Now, the amount of people out there that dislike him does not deter, it's not mitigating, it's not causing people to not tune in, because people still love to be entertained and people still have a short memory span. People still want to be entertained. But I think in this particular instance, I never thought that about Kevin Durant. And if you thought that about Kevin Durant, then you're a flat out hater. If you're going to try to distill this guy's entire career into he will be remembered for leaving Stephen Curry to go, he was already better than Stephen Curry. What are we talking about here? When he was playing with the Golden State Warriors, he was clearly their best player, especially in the finals, and the evidence shows it. And he's going to be remembered for leaving Stephen Curry to go play with Kyrie. Yeah, the situation with him and Kyrie Irving is not working out in Brooklyn thus far, but I don't think that's going to end up being his legacy unless you're a flat-out hater. I don't know how you come to that conclusion about Kevin Durant. To me, I think it's outlandish, and I think Kevin Durant is right to push back. He's absolutely right. Stephen A. Smith is the only one I've heard push that narrative on ESPN. The only one. So these are my thoughts and opinions, and I'm happy that Kevin Durant stood up for himself. What I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about this back and forth? What do you think about the comments that Kevin Durant had to make? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.